Vanderloo didn't just enter the fashion world, he exploded all over it. No credible list of 90s male supermodels would be complete without the name Vanderloo. Mark Vanderloo is one of the original male models of the early 90s and still holds on to that title.
I think I have an easy, marketable face, and I think that's what attracts a lot of designers. I'm born April the 24th in 1968 in Holland. I'm a real Dutchie. I've lived 2 years in Africa before I moved to Amsterdam, where I went to study.
Mark Vanderloo, for me, is up there in the same level as John Pearson. Mark Vanderloo is someone you could still use today. You can never overuse him because he's just so elegant and so strong and has gravitas. I remember one specific shoot that I did with Mark where we took him out to Long Island to this beautiful mansion. And I had seen these pictures of Picasso when he was a young man. He had black hair, and it was long before he became famous. And I saw a couple pictures of him, in a tweed suit or in a trench coat, and he was on the lawn of a beautiful house. He was smoking a cigarette, and it was just these three images that I really loved. And we cast Mark Vanderloo. We actually put a rinse in his hair, so his hair was a little bit darker. And I made the decision, along with the photographer, Francois Hallard, to do all the pictures in Polaroid. So they'd have a graininess and a little bit of a saturation to them. So we did a tweed story with him. And he looked at the three pictures and he's like, okay, how many pages is this? And I was like, well, 10 to 12. And he's like, I gotcha. And he probably looked at those pictures for all of 45 seconds. And he completely, got lost in the character. And he embodied the spirit without it looking too retro. Something that I have never been a fan of is too much nostalgia. If I'm going to use, Pablo Picasso from, the 1930s as my reference, I never want it to look like Pablo Picasso in the 30s. I'm just looking for an attitude. And he would pick up on it, and then he would give it his own flair, and the pictures came very quickly.
Vanderloo fell into the modeling industry quite by accident. Vanderloo had accompanied his then girlfriend to a photo shoot for a Dutch milk company and was only there to drop her off. It was at that time that, luckily for us, one of the photographers requested to take a few of his pictures. Weeks after, the two became the healthy image of an advertising campaign of Dutch milk. When asked if he would have imagined himself as the top model he was, he said, "Least of anything I would figure I would be a model. It totally came as a surprise to me. I didn't intend to do this at all, as a matter of fact. When I was a child, my stepfather was an amateur photographer, and I never wanted him to take any pictures of me because I just didn't like it. If the man had to be described in one word, it would be charming." Versace, Valentino, and Calvin Klein are some of the designers who have surrendered to his charms. The Dutch model has often been called the Cary Grant of the modeling world. He worked on his first international campaign with Banana Republic, though Vanderloo was famous for the Calvin Klein and DKNY campaigns, and is still arguably best known for his Hugo Boss black and white prints, on which he has been working since 2005. Vanderloo moved to New York in 1994 to be Calvin Klein's obsession model. It was after that he first appeared in Boss's couture and ready-to-wear lines. Mark was one of the first men to appear on the cover of Marie Claire in 1996. He was the #1 model in the world at the age of 22.
I would like to thank the VH1 committee for giving me the award, and all the people I've been working with for the last couple of years. Special thanks for my parents who are here. Thank you very much for coming.
The 90s were an exciting time for Mark. There were times when he was doing as many as 50 shows every fashion week. Even before delving into the acting world, Vanderloo managed to make an impression on the field. Derek Zoolander, the fictional character who was brought the profession of male modelling to the big screen, was christened through inspiration from the names of Mark Vanderloo and fellow model Johnny Zander. The profession brought Vanderloo face to face with his first wife, Esther Canadas. The two fell in love over a 4-day model campaign with Donna Karan, New York. The two were married in 1999 but divorced a year later. In an industry where people are willing to trample over each other to reach the next rung of the ladder, Mark Vanderloo has been known for having some great friendships in the industry. Vanderloo, along with his model friends Jason Lewis, Alec Lundqvist, and Keith Malos, were often called fashion's Fab Four. His high-profile Calvin Klein Eternity campaign with Christy Turlington shot him to fame and to the forefront of the fashion industry. He's been the face of Hugo Boss, DKNY, and H&M. He's appeared in magazines such as Vogue Italia, GQ, V-Man, and Vogue en Paris. Even to this day, Vanderloo is still a sought-after model. He was recently on display with D-Squared's Spring-Summer 2020 campaign. Shot by photography duo Mert and Marcus, Mark was seen resplendent in D-Squared Classics' distressed denim look.
Mark is lovely. I remember giving advice to Mark when because he came in just after me and hit his ascent. And I remember seeing him and he's saying, how do you deal with it? And I gave him a lecture like daddy, sort of, look, make sure you keep your head and, get something, find something to do, educate yourself, look around, get another business. And I remember him having the grace to thank me later on, which was really nice. And he's an amazing model. Brilliant, beautiful guy, funny. Yeah, he's the A-team. He's tops and still doing it and still looking great and smart, living in Ibiza. Bought property in Ibiza. That's smart.
My name is Alex Lundqvist. That's Qvist. I know, it's very hard to spell.
Swedish-born Alex began modelling in the summer of 1994. Tracked down by photographer Bruce Weber and Wilhelmina agent Sean Patterson after they saw his photo in an unnoted publication, Lundqvist was soon put to work. Versace booked him for a worldwide campaign with Helena Christensen, shot once again by Bruce Weber. Since then, Alex has worked with almost every top men's designer and brand in the world, definitely marking him as one of the original male supermodels. With his dark blonde hair, blue eyes, and a physique that makes women everywhere swoon, it's no surprise that Swedish model Alex Lundqvist has had a long and successful career in the modeling industry.
The clients aren't stupid, They know that if they use Alex, that Alex is going to sell product. They know that he presents a dream. He's a great-looking kid who's going to fit into their vision for the campaign, and that in turn is going to help sell clothing.
Alex Lundqvist was one of my favorites because in addition to him just looking great and everything, he is such a sweet guy and really collaborative and takes his job really seriously as far as like wanting to know the point of view, really wanting to know the direction. He's a very smart guy. He is very worldly, and I think he brought a real European sense of taste and nobility and cool to the pages of GQ.
I said to myself when I started this that if I'm going to do this, I might as well give 100% of it.
I just adored him as a person, and I loved working with him. And I thought that he made everything elegant, but really fun at the same time. And he could take an idea, if we wanted him to jump in a pool with a suit on, he could do that. But then he could also just lean against the wall and look very cool and not too posy.
He and his brother and sister were raised on one of the islands in the Stockholm archipelago, he says.
I spent every summer in my entire life on the southwest coast of Sweden. It's a little area there. It has like one of the most amazing beaches. It gets cold here in New York and it gets darker, but Sweden is so much further north that the sun literally goes up, I don't know, like 10 o'clock and back down at 2 p.m. You have like 4 hours of sunlight, which is, it's brutal. I remember going to school every day in pitch black and home from school in pitch black.
At 18 years of age, he undertook a 12-month stint in the army, where he was a tank commander. The army transformed him from a young boy into a muscular and very handsome man, but he swears that he would never go back. But a friend suggested that he should give modelling a go. At first, he didn't think it was his thing, and he thought he could do it as an extra job. His friend recommended him to an agency in Stockholm, and he modeled a little in Sweden.
And I just finished the army service, and I was going in to study business and marketing, and my friend said he was going down to Milan. I didn't even have an agency or anything. It's like, all right, well, I'll join you. I've never been to Italy, so let me go and travel a little bit before I go into school.
He appeared in the 1995 Lagerfeld campaign with Nadia Auermann, and within a week he featured in the Guess campaign alongside Letitia Casta and Valeria Mazza. He has since appeared in several of the Guess campaigns and television commercials. The name Lundqvist became synonymous with fashion brands everywhere, and he quickly became recognized as one of the top male supermodels appearing in magazines, including Elle, GQ, Playgirl, and New York Magazine. He's also graced the runways in Paris, Milan, New York for brands including Valentino, Versace, Armani, Gucci, and Calvin Klein. Lundqvist takes his work very seriously and is said to follow a strict diet and constantly work out. But he says the hardest part of his job is having to move abroad and live away from his family.
To sitting in like a luxury hotel down in the Riviera, shooting a big campaign the next day, and I would sit there and it would be like Midsummer Eve in Sweden. I would literally start crying and just miss my friends and family because it can be so incredibly lonely also. And realizing that this hotel and that campaign it's nice and everything, but it's not the most important thing.
He currently resides in New York with his wife, Kate Lundqvist, and their children, and can speak fluent English, German, Swedish, and a little French and Italian. Lundqvist is not just a pretty face, but is also a professional paintball player for the Jersey Authority.
Can you make a career out of this?
Out of playing paintball?
Yeah.
It's hard. Most other people have other jobs also.
Then what do you do?
I do a little bit of modeling.
More recently, he's dabbled in acting.
Look, I know it's fast. I know we had our rough spots, but we always made sense. That's the moment you're supposed to say something.
In 2002, he starred in the French erotic softcore film Total Romance: Initiation and its sequel Total Romance 2: Ultimate Games. He appeared as Fergie's love interest in her 2006 music video for her song Clumsy. And in 2014, he appeared in the film The Limit, which follows a soldier dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder. Lundqvist is considered one of the top male supermodels and has an incredible career spanning many years.
You know what? I never thought I would still be doing it as much as I am today.
And he is still working for many of the top brands today.
I was roller skating on the weekends on Venice Beach, and some photographers saw me there and started taking snapshots of me and asked me if I wanted to do more serious pictures. And so we did some test shootings and went to Elite in LA with the pictures. And they sent me back to Europe to build up a book, get experience, and learn the business. I would say, the big break in my career was the Calvin Klein shoot with Bruce Weber and Carrie Otis. And after that, I started working all the time.
Everyone wanted to work with him. And so I felt very fortunate to get that job, the Calvin Klein campaign with Bruce. And he was he was so nice to me, like big old Santa Claus with his big white hair, beard, and he always wore a bandana and looked kind of like a droovy Santa Claus. And he was super nice. The Calvin Klein campaign, there was just so many models. They had booked probably 30 models, men and women. And it was a week-long shoot, maybe even 8-9 days. And Yeah, Bruce Weber has a very particular way of shooting. He just, we all just hung out and he ran around and saw something, oh, that looks good, and took pictures of it while we were hanging out, and then at some point said, okay, Marcus, okay, we're going to do some shots just with you in the shower in the hotel. It's going to be pretty much naked, but you can cover yourself with a pair of jeans. And are you fine with that? I said, yeah, totally. He was so nice, so respectful and nice. And it was a little bit scary, though. In the shower, he had so many flashes and electrical cords were all over the place. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going to be, I hope I don't get electrocuted here with in the shower, the water coming down on me. And that was where this famous Calvin Klein in the shower shot advertising picture came from.
Marcus embodied like a complete Adonis. Marcus's physicality is as perfection as we get with the male species.
You just looked at Marcus and his proportions were amazing. They were just right. He wasn't overly pumped and he wasn't like one of those super skinny guys that just kind of fit into tight designer clothes, but yet that's it.
It was almost like a ballet dancer, his body. The proportions were magnificent.
Long legs and a broad shoulder and a smaller waist, and that he had his long hair, which was kind of interesting. And I mean, he's just great looking. And then you met him, and he was absolutely wonderful and totally into working in the photo shoot and getting it right.
He's a beautiful specimen and like a beautiful human being, really, really stand up and really present. And what I think was really special about him and what made him stand out is both like his physicality, but also that there was a story and an energy within him that we didn't quite know. Like there was something else going on with Marcus, and we were never going to know it. There was no invitation to know what it was. There was just this like person that was portrayed where you wanted to understand and know more of him, and he wasn't going to ever say anything.
Marcus knows how to work a camera. There's that nuance that it's kind of, he's almost seems like purposely nonchalant and almost there's that certain thing, and that's what makes it sexy, because he's not trying too hard. It's just natural.
I think the other thing with Marcus that Charles mentioned too he was almost like a dancer. It was almost like ballet. And I think if you look at those Avedon shots, Avedon, some of those amazing things where he's kind of in those motion poses, and we've shot dancers, and it's very, very similar. And I think Avedon, who was one of our total idols and inspirations, like I think that's what Avedon, who actually even saw that in him and used him in so many of those amazing.
And when you're on an Avedon set, obviously there couldn't be better. It's like modeling 101. You can't get better. So I think he honed his craft on those sets.
He was that amazing combination of being very masculine and quite feminine at the same time, if that makes sense, because he was sort of beautiful, but he was also, he had this amazing body and he was big and strong, and obviously he wasn't going to pass for a woman, but he just had that great combination of masculinity and femininity, I would say.
The photos from Richard Avedon for Versace, they're just so artistic, and I love the black and white, and really he was really a genius, Richard Avedon, I think. And even though it was very hard shoot, like one picture, I have this big Versace cover that I had to jump with the cover, holding the cover behind me, and I think I did it. I must have done it 100 or 200 times, to get exactly that perfect picture that he wanted. So it was quite hard, to do on jumping on the concrete floor so many times and butt naked, but in the end, he got such amazing pictures out of it. But I don't know. I think I always thought Richard Avedon was you know, maybe the best photographer ever. So I was just, you know, happy and felt so lucky to work with him.
The great Gianni Versace said of Marcus, "It is not often that one sees a man like Marcus. He's so comfortable with his body and with himself that he transcends the limits of culture. In this sense, he is free, and by looking at him, you also feel free."
Yeah, one of those pictures actually ended up on the cover of a Versace book called Men Without Ties. That was a surprise. I had no idea. But we went to London, actually, me, Gianni Versace, Donatella Versace, Naomi Campbell, to do a book signing. We all signed the books, and Gianni was good friends with Elton John, so we went to his house and had lunch, and that was a really nice, exciting experience too. And I got to spend more time with Gianni as well, because I hadn't really, he never showed up at photo shoots or anything. He normally stayed in Milan working, I guess, and hanging out with Gianni, Donatella, and Naomi there in London for a couple of days was a really nice time as well.
Appearances for Versace and trysts with Pamela Anderson and Jessica Simpson very much included.
No, I worked many times for Versace, and also his other lines, Istante and Versace Sport, and it was a perfect pairing for both of us. I mean, Versace used models that were kind of muscular, had good bodies.
John Barnes Pearson is a modelling icon with a stellar career that has spanned over 35 years. A gentleman from Yorkshire, he became a successful model in the mid-1980s and bore eyewitness to the supermodel phenomena firsthand.
For me, the number one model of all time is John Pearson, because if you hired John Pearson for a job, he would bring so much of his own personality. If you gave him, you know, $100 suit, he would make it look like $1 million. And, you know, that kind of thing is priceless.
I mean, he's Montgomery Clift handsome, an excellent model. He's a wonderful human being. He's referred to often as the first male supermodel, and I believe he is.
The only man to appear editorially in American GQ for over 3 decades.
You know, so many people used to chase after John down the street and shout, "Hey, Mr. GQ, Mr. GQ," because he was in GQ, I think, you know, every single issue for about 10 years or something crazy.
When I did my first GQ shoot, and I had no idea, yeah, it's a magazine, it's another magazine. I was so ignorant as to which was great and which wasn't. I left that to my agent. But then I think I was the only guy to be in GQ in the 80s and 90s and noughties, and I became the GQ man. So I'd have people chasing me down the street saying, "Hey, GQ John, hey, Mr. GQ," which was kind of in New York and in Italy and in, you know, in London, all over the place.
Herb Ritz once said of John, "Mr. Pearson is a natural and needs no guidance or direction." Pearson's impressive client list also includes Burberry, Karen, Valentino, Hugo Roche, Gap, Republic, Warmer Vogue, Bourbon, and GQ. He was also an international face for the fragrance Drakkar Noir.
I mean, it really didn't stop for a good 15 years. Solid, non-stop working, traveling the globe, working with the best, you know, best photographers in the world of the generation before me and the new generation and the next generation and the best, you know, all the girls and all the great art directors, all the great sort of fashion brands and houses of the world, as well as the sort of, you know, the high street as well. So it was pretty remarkable. It was a remarkable time. when I got to New York, it was totally different because I'd been in Japan for 3 months working. I'd made some decent money that would, you know, pay for my trip and give me a sort of a few months in New York. I got to New York, and within, I think, 2 days, I was doing this job with Cindy Crawford. I was in my first limousine, you know, in my life. I was paid very well for a couple of pictures and ate the most delicious food that I'd ever had. And I thought, this is really good. America's quite cool. 2 days after that, I was on the cover of Self with Uma Thurman. And then then it literally didn't stop. In all honesty, I was a little intimidated by Uma because she was a star, and I think she's just done a movie, and she was just incredibly bright and confident and drop dead gorgeous. And I think I might have been a bit tongue-tied at the beginning, but I had to learn, you know, I had to learn to deal with that. And that happened with a few of them, but you just have to learn to cope with the situation in a way that sort of makes you feel, you know, you feel good.
Pearson was catapulted to international stardom for his appearance in the now iconic George Michael Freedom 90 music video, appearing alongside Cindy Crawford, Linda Evangelista, Chrissy Tony, Naomi Campbell, Tatiana Petits.
George was so lovely. He was so charming.
I think the other thing too that was interesting in the Freedom video, which obviously highlighted all of these models, they did mix in somebody like John Pearson, who was just like so incredibly, you know, handsome. So it was kind of George Michael and the directors giving a little nod to, you know, there are the guys, you know, also.
First time I saw the video of Freedom 90, I was on a shoot in a hotel in Miami Beach, and it was a kind of a boring shoot. You know, it was a bit like waiting for the paint to dry. And we were in a bar in this hotel, and MTV was on, and it suddenly came on. And I was like, oh, I think I did this. And everyone around me just went bonkers. I mean, really bonkers. I was like, what? Is it that good? I didn't really know. And that was it. And so then I realized that something was here, and we didn't have mobile phones though. But when I went back to the hotel, I had 20 faxes and messages from agents and friends and people and other clients just saying, this is amazing, it's incredible. So that's when I knew it was something pretty important.
In the last half-decade alone, Pearson has worked the pages of Vogue Italia and Interview, flaunted salt and pepper hair in youth-driven indie magazines like V-Man, Hercules, and Arena En Plus, and put teenage waifs to shame on the Prada runway.
I still, to this day, I think before lockdown, I always seem to manage 1 or 2 really cool editorials every year, which is kind of nice. Given I'm 125 years old, I can still, you know, work with the young'uns and give them a run for my money. It is interesting, actually, as I got older, I was doing this client for about 10 years in London, a shirt maker in Jermyn Street, and they always pair me with younger guys, you know, and they're always active jobs, and I'm just that guy. I'm just always have to be quickest in the run. I have to be fastest on the bike, and it's really pathetic. It says so much about me, but it is who I am.
The dashing granddaddy of supermodels still holds his place in the industry, with a fan page in the blogosphere and a burgeoning presence on Instagram. Pearson's also a father of 3 and has been married for 22 years to Alison Edmond, a well-known creative director, stylist and editor for Marie Claire, British and US Vogue, and Harper's Bazaar.
2021 marks the 35th year of Pearson's uncommon career. And despite his light-hearted approach, he denies he's anything like the characters popularised in the comedic film Zoolander.
My crew, my English crew, we were all just, you know, DJs, nightclub guys. We really fancied ourselves as the Peter O'Toole, the Richard Burton, that sort of Rat Packy kind of guys. We weren't, you know, let's go to the gym and look like Adonis. We really weren't. We played soccer, and we fell over a lot, you know, when we were a little bit tipsy, and we did pranks on each other, but we just, you know, there was always, and to this day, it's the same. There was always a slight, you know, concern that we would sort of be caught admiring ourselves too much. It's just, maybe it's a British thing, I don't know.
Modelling is a difficult industry to survive in, and Pearson is the first to admit being objectified for a living hasn't always been breezy.
I really struggled for a few years. I think it was maybe towards 29, around there, with just, just really just dealing with it all, and just dealing with traveling all the time. And I wanted roots. And I think part of the antidote to that was, holding on and treasuring my relationship with my girlfriend, who became my wife, and then having children. And that was my roots. For me, it's always been about my family. Always. It was from day one, and it is to this day. It's always been about that. So they grounded me. My family grounded me. And more so as we had children, I was just very, I didn't have time for any of the superfluous, bullshit. And I got a better grip of myself and my understanding of life.
Pearson now lives in LA, and besides modelling, also works behind the scenes. He's a contributor to various magazines, and also an editor. He's producing a documentary on spiritual leader Sadhguru, founder of the Isha Foundation. When COVID hit, launched Mr. Phil, a cheeky, in-depth online magazine aimed at the modern man. Things may have slowed down a little since his heyday, time before musicians, reality stars, athletes and actors became first pick for endorsements, the glossy covers and the multi-page spreads. But Pearson, a recent convert to the cult of hot yoga, is still moving, shaking and setting new trends.
It's really vital that you just keep interested in lots of different things. Keep observing what's around you. Find niches within the market that you're involved with where you could probably capitalize and, you can exploit, you can provide something, a service or something.
Supermodel David James Gandy is another name synonymous with the male modelling industry today. And whilst he missed the 1990s arriving in 2001, he's still a notable figure. Gandy's first steps in the industry were not very certain. He's had an unusual and interesting journey in his rise to the top of the modelling industry.
David Gandy at this point is iconic. I mean, the man is Mr. Perfect. I did a cover with him a couple of years ago for Taiwan GQ, and they were doing a special issue based around the suit. And I've only seen David in a very, very dressed up way, or I've seen him in a swimsuit for Dolce & Gabbana. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to disrupt that look a little bit. So I wanted to do the dandy Gandy, but I also wanted to put him in, a tracksuit, and I wanted to put a suit over it. And, when we started the shoot, he was looking at the clothes and he's like, I'll do whatever you want, but, I look better when I'm a little more dressed up. But he really took the role seriously. And what he did is he brought a real elegance to the clothes, and he brought his dandyism to the clothes and kind of lifted them.
Gandy was born in Billericay, Essex, England. He had a childhood dream of being a veterinary surgeon, but he couldn't follow through on account of his grades. While in university, where he was studying multimedia computing and marketing, Gandy worked for an auto express, delivering the latest Porsches and Jaguars to the track for testing. Luckily for us, it was around this time, in 2001, that his friend and flatmate entered him into a modelling competition on ITV's This Morning.
And he's got a fantastic career ahead of him. Well done, David. Congratulations.
Your year's contract with Select.
Excellent. Very much. Well, congratulations to all of you. You all did very well to get here in the first place, and well done, David.
David entered the modelling industry at a time when male models had an extremely set and standard of physical appearance. Gandy did not fit into the frame of what a male model was meant to look like. His masculine physique stood in sharp contrast to the extremely skinny and almost feminine portraits of male models at the time. It was Dolce & Gabbana, a brand that Gandhi has stayed loyal to for over a decade, that catapulted him into the modelling world with their blue light fragrance campaign. The result was 11 million online hits and saw a 50-foot billboard of him displayed in Times Square. After that, David Gandhi became a name that you could not ignore.
For me, he's the eternal dandy. He's the man who always looks good in a suit. He loves tailored clothing. He is a suit monster. He loves tailored clothing, and he knows so much about it. He probably even knows more than I do. And he's British, and he gets his suits made on Savile Row, and he's incredibly knowledgeable about suits and how they're made. And he really pulls it off. I mean, when I go to London for the men's collections, he's front row in every show. And I think he changes 2 or 3 times a day, and it's a different suit. And it's a lot of the looks you think, wow, I don't know if I could ever pull that off. But Gandhi always does, because he's such an elegant guy.
Gandhi addressed his role in changing the look of male models in the industry in his interview with ABC's Amy Robach. "I didn't follow the trend, I bucked the trends," he said. When talking about the Dolce & Gabbana picture of 2006, he said, "I have a personal love of that picture. It changed my life. But as people said, it changed the industry, and that's not an easy thing to do." He has since then worked with female supermodels such as Gemma Ward, Scarlett Johansson, Giselle Bundchen, and Naomi Campbell, as well as male models Noah Mills, Tony Ward, Adam Sen, and others. Mario Testino, a name heralded at the height of legends amongst the fashion photographers of our time, was heard referring to Gandhi when he said, "David has something of what the 1980s supermodels have. He radiates health and positivity. I think he has what it takes to be very big. It's exciting because it signifies a real shift in men's fashion. The male model world is changing."
So I think some people see him as like this body, but he really is the Clark Gable of models, because he's smoldering. He has a little bit age to him. He has a lot of gravitas, but he knows so much about tailored clothing that he always looks elegant.
In 2009, Gandhi was selected for a BBC4 special entitled 7 Photographs That Changed Fashion. Fashion photographer Rankin used Gandhi to recreate Fred with Tires, originally shot by Brits in 1984. After breaking through the stereotypes early in his career, David Gandhi hasn't once slowed down. In 2010, he made the male modelling history twice. He became the first and only male model nominated for the BFC's Model of the Year award, and the first male in his profession to appear on BBC One's Friday Night with Jonathan Ross.
Can we put you in a perspective for people who aren't familiar with the world of fashion, world of modelling? I think most people will recognise your face even if they didn't necessarily know exactly where from.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that advert would help there. But how many campaigns have you been involved in? Kind of how much? Where were you in the kind of list of top male models? Where would you be if someone? And I'm not asking you to
talk about myself.
Well, you're in the wrong place then.
Yeah, very bad. They say I'm the #1 British model at the moment.
#1 British male model, ladies and gentlemen.
Gandhi was the only male model to walk the Union Jack catwalk at the close of the 2012 London Olympics. David isn't ashamed of admitting that he has used his foothold in the fashion industry to walk through many different doors. He is a man who chases his passions. In the past 5 years, he's launched a signature line, David Gandhi for Autograph, with Marks & Spencer. He writes columns for The Telegraph and GQ on everything from suits to sports cars. He has 2 apps, David Gandhi Style Guide for Men and David Gandhi Fitness and Training. The male supermodel owns his own protein-based ice cream business, Way Hey, and a sock subscription business called the London Sock Company. He also acquired footwear brand David Preston. He is equally active in his charitable work, from participating in Fashion for Relief fashion show to raising money for victims of the Haitian earthquake and being named the first celebrity ambassador for the UK's Battersea Dogs and Cats Home. Gandhi participated in the Marks & Spencer's Spark Something Good initiative, in which hundreds of volunteers completed 24 projects over a 24-hour period throughout the UK.
It's not always about donations. A lot of people can't afford that, but they still want to do stuff for charities. Just putting hands on deck, and I think a lot of people want to do that, and the platform Spark's Good, lets people know what's going on in their community. I hope that continues over the next coming years and people volunteer.
Spark something good.
What are you doing? Stop that. Are you listening to me? I told you to stop it. You can't take pictures of people like that. I want you to delete the shots.
Absolutely not.
Erase them.
No.
Yes!
The best news yet is that we might still see Gandhi behind the silver screen. We've glimpsed a peek at his talent in the short film Away We Stay. American audiences got a peek when he starred opposite Jennifer Lopez in her music video for her single First Love. When asked about a possible acting career, Gandhi said, "I was offered 50 Shades of Grey, 300 Rise of an Empire, Hercules, which a lot of people probably would have taken as actors, but I'm in the fortunate position where I like what I'm doing. I don't feel the need to act." The 90s really belonged to Mark Vanderloo, Marcus Schenkenberg and Alex Lundqvist, along with some notable others, Gabriel Aubrey, Joel West, Charlie Speed, Jason Lewis, Tony Ward, Verna Scrayer, and I guess I was in there somewhere too.
Oh man, all those guys you named were killing it in the 90s. And I would see them, and like I said, I was inspired by most, and it would want me to say, oh man, you know, Marcus just killed that campaign. I got to kill something too, you know. And it was always that, whether we knew we were competing against each other or complementing each other, whichever way. And I don't think it was a competition or competing. I should not say that. I think it was more of, wow, I have to do something great as that, or greater, you know. And I think we were all comrades in that sense, that we always wanted to deliver to the client the best. I mean, there was a few guys that I worked with that were lackadaisical or just, you know, not really interested. Most were just driven.